This is Colin Edwards. It's the morning of September 10th, and I'm standing outside the headquarters of the Black Panther Party on Grove Street in Oakland. And looking at this window, I can see a great gaping hole in the center, right where a poster of Huey P. Newton sitting in that African chair with an African spear and a shield in one hand. This window has been hit by, I would say, about a dozen bullets. Where you can see the bullet's entry, there is a hole of about the size of a 50-cent piece. Mr. Eldridge Cleaver, Minister of Defense of the Black Panther Party.
Eldridge, what is your reaction to this morning shooting?
Well, I think that my reaction would be a normal reaction. It's one of outrage at the type of people that we have on the police department here. This is an example of the type of thing that the Black Panther Party is struggling against. This is not the first time that our office has been shot up. We had an office down on 56th and Grove, a few blocks down, and the police passed by one night and did the same thing, exactly the same thing. And when we told people about that, we told the press about it, they tried to pretend that it was a publicity stunt. And if it was not for the fact that we had eyewitnesses to this incident this morning, they would probably say this was another publicity stunt. But it happened that there were people out here and they saw the policemen doing this. So that what can you say about it except that the Oakland Police Department has demonstrated that they have nothing but contempt for black people. They don't care whether someone sees them do it or not. They just run over people. And what can we do except retaliate against them and use the same type of tactics against them they use against us? People say that we're a bunch of outrageous people, that we are extremists. But this is the most extreme behavior that you can ever exhibit, particularly from pigs who are supposed to be members of law enforcement officers and all that. I can't even talk to you about it because I'm just disgusted about it. And just look at the wall there. Just look at that wall. Look at that. They shot holes through the picture of our Minister of Defense, Huey P. Newton. What is this supposed to mean? They railroaded him through the court. They've convicted him for manslaughter against the same type of fool pig who came by here last night and did the same thing. So how are we supposed to feel about this? This is another example of why we demand that Huey P. Newton be set free, because we know the type of dogs that we're dealing with. We're dealing with racist Gestapo pigs on the Oakland Police Department who have been doing this type of thing all along. This is not the first time they've done this, and it's not just shooting out windows. They go around and intimidate people, they murder people on the streets, and anyone wearing a uniform who would do this type of thing, do you think this is the first time he's ever done something like this?
Do you know these two officers?
This is his behavior. I don't need to know them. I know that they're on the Oakland Police Department. The entire Oakland Police Department is out of order. Chief Gaines has suspended these men and arrested them, but just watch and see what he does to them. See if they're sent to the penitentiary as they're trying to send Huey P. Newton. So I'm saying that this is proof positive. Everybody can see it for themselves. We have witnesses to it, not just members of the Black Panther Party, but we have citizens who were out here last night and they saw this. So this is just notification to the community that we have got to get together, get our black army together and drive these dogs out of our community. That's the only thing that's going to solve it.
Right on, brother.
And it's all later for the press. Because you see, you come down here and you take these pictures, you take these damn statements, but what do you do about it? You try to make it sound like it might be confusion, or that we might be lying, but we're not lying about this. We didn't do it. The pigs on the Oakland Police Department did it, and we're not going to have it. We're not going to have it, and we're just going to have to defend ourselves against this. We're going to put a stop to this because we're not going to take it no more.
Right, brother.
We're going to call upon the entire black community to mobilize itself and get ready to deal with these pigs, because it has to be done.
That's right.
We can't have no more of this.
Right.
Mr. Seale? Seale, could you tell us exactly what happened last night and when you first heard of it?
I don't know exactly what happened last night.
When did you first hear of it?
This morning on KDIA radio.
And what is your personal reaction to this, Mr. Seale?
My personal reaction is just like I said, the racist dog policemen occupy, racist dog, pig policemen, the Oakland policemen occupy a community just like a foreign troop occupies territory. To see an action this on the part of them to come up and shoot this office is erroneous. And I'm saying, like I said before, that if there had been any brothers around here in the Black Panther Party, we just had to defend ourselves. We just had to shoot back at them pigs and drive them away from here. And as far as I'm concerned, the Oakland Police Department is wrong. We've circulated a petition to try to remove them and decentralize them. And we're going to go forth to make sure that the police department is out of it, out of this community, that we don't have no more of this bull crap anymore.
Why do you think this was done, Bobby?
To intimidate, to harass. It's a continuation. There's a bullet hole right here. This bullet hole here was one of the previous bullet holes. This is one of the bullet holes that was put in here last night. There were 2 bullet holes shot in here. And the registered voter sign covers the other one here. For the last time they shot in our windows. I can't find it now, but I guess they covered it up.
There have been previous incidents like this?
There's a previous incident. The first office we had at 56th and Grove, there were shots fired in that, and quite a while ago. That was before we even went to Sacramento, California. So we see what's happening, and like Brother Eldridge say, like the Panther Party say, we want all the brothers to get together. We want every black man in his home to put a shotgun, a .38, and a pistol in his home. And if he catch any pigs anywhere attacking him or his people, to off that pig, committing illegal acts against anybody in the black community, to off that pig with 00 buckshot or .357 Magnum, what have you. Because these pigs are only out to try to murder, kill, and brutalize
the
black people everywhere across the nation.
You say that you think that this might have been an effort on the police department's part to precipitate something. Do you think it will precipitate anything?
You know what it's going to do? It's going to do what the Black Panther Party, I hope, tells the black community. Arm yourself from door to door. Don't run in small groups. Don't run in large groups in the community. Run in 4s and 5s, and be armed. And if any attacks come upon you, use a proper tactic. If any pigs commits any illegal act against you of brutality and murder, wipe that pig out.
Does the Black Panther Party plan to take any legal action against the police department as a result of this?
As Eldridge already said it, that we have a lawyer here who has some information, and he's been investigating. His name is Alex Hoffmann, and here he is right here.
The problem right now is that we understand that Chief Gaines has suspended 2 police officers, but you always run into a problem when an organization is investigating itself. Obviously, we need to take a great deal more action than having the Oakland Police Department, which did it, which has taken the bullets for its own ballistics tests, conduct its own investigation of itself. We need the United States Civil Rights Commission. We need court action on this. There were bullets that went straight through the back wall into the apartments of the people behind, who luckily were not injured. It shows the irrationality. It shows that Mayor Redding, who a few days ago said there would be a blow-up no matter what the verdict was, knew what he was saying. He knew there was going to be a blow-up because the police was going to blow up. And
do you live in the neighborhood?
If they are so irrational that they'd shoot through a picture of Huey Newton, then can there be any doubt that they'd shoot at him in person if they could?
Had there been any threats of any sort recently?
They've been patrolling, there have been threats all over. They've been patrolling as heavily this office and the homes of all the leaders of the Black Panther Party and of the Newton family for days and days and days. Yet it's very interesting that last night it took them over an hour to get here after the shooting, and this morning there's hardly been a police car by.
There's a gentleman here who says he's a witness.
Yeah, we've been down at the community center, you know, and since Saturday, spending nights down there. I guess they think there's something going on in there, and all these damn trucks run all up in there is all pigs. Cause Saturday night at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, they've been patrolling down there at the center. Like down there, where this cat's supposed to be painting the next house, he's supposed to be, he's watching the center, see. All of them is plotting. They want to start the shit, see. But and plus, Saturday night they shot in the air down at the pigs. We seen them.
You shot this one?
No, I'm talking about here. We talking about down at the center.
Oh, at the center.
They shot in the air. But they wanted us to come out. I guess they wanted us to fire out, and then the shit would be on. But we didn't. We kept it cool, you know. So I guess they drove off, and it's about. I say in that same night, since Saturday to Sunday, it's about at least 60 or 70 pigs been riding around there. You know.
Mr. Seale mentioned there'd been a previous incident of shooting at Black Panther headquarters. I don't see him around here now. I wanted to ask him about that. Do you know anything about that one?
No.
Do you want to identify yourself?
No.
Okay, thank you.
A man on my property already identified. But
Yes, I know. Here is the first of our eyewitnesses to the shooting last night. Who are you, sir?
My name is Cecil Johnson.
You live in the neighborhood?
No, I'm not in this immediate neighborhood.
Yes. And what exactly happened as you saw it?
Oh, well,
Where were you standing?
no, I was driving down the
Yes.
street, and I noticed this police car parked on the corner, but it had a spotlight on and it was turned down. So this made me curious about this car, so I went a block down and made a U-turn and turned my lights out and eased back up the street.
Yes.
And when I got into the intersection of 45th and Grove, the police car was directly in front of the office. And I seen the officer open fire on the window.
They opened the windows, and what did they have? Shotguns, or was it
Well, I couldn't see the
revolvers?
type of automatic. I
Yes.
couldn't see the type of weapon, but it was an automatic weapon.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And they just shot at the picture of Mr. Newton here, and it was the center picture in this window here.
Yes, well, it seemed as though they were taking something definitely out on Huey because they looked like they were trying to take target practice on him.
How many shots did you count, or was it too rapid to keep
I
count?
counted 6, but that was on the first time.
Yes.
And then I had left to get assistance, and on the second time when they came by, they fired 6 more shots, so that was 12 shots altogether.
And they
See,
perhaps had fired a few more between the two times you were there?
See,
Yeah.
now, they fired twice. See, once going down, and then they circled the block and came back and fired again. And it was awful strange because just before the shooting, the police cars were following each other about 30 seconds apart.
Yes.
But when this shooting occurred, it was about 10 minutes before any police car came around here or came down Grove Street. And I told the police officer this was kind of strange since they had a pattern of following each other, 30 seconds apart. But after the shooting, which there was about 150 police in about a 20-block area here, knowing they heard the shots, nobody responded. I mean, this seemed to me like they knew what was going on.
Yes.
They knew what was going to happen, so we'll just stay off that street for about 10 minutes and then drive by as though we didn't know what happened,
They were the police in one car who did the shooting. There weren't two different cars
No,
involved.
it wasn't the same car.
Same car, yeah. And there were 2 officers in the car?
2 officers in the car.
One was driving, the other was shooting, was that it?
Yes, and they were so bold about it, it was a regular police car, black and white.
Were there any people around on the pavement that were endangered by this?
Well, I didn't see anybody on this side of the street. There was one brother across the street, directly across the street. Now, at first, he wasn't going to give any evidence because I guess he was scared,
Yes.
But he finally told him, what happened. Then there were 2 other brothers down the street that were hid behind cars, and they witnessed the whole thing. Again, see, so we have, other than
least 4
myself,
witnesses.
3 witnesses as to actually what happened.
Yes.
Mhm.
Which way were the cars going when they opened fire? Where was the car going when they opened fire?
Going this way,
Going
south on Grove
going
Street.
south. On both occasions, during the 2 shooting incidents, it was going south.
No, once north.
Oh, I see. The first time going south, the second time going north. Are you yourself a Black Panther or just a brother here?
Brother.
I see. Thank you very much. Oh, here's Mr. Charles Garry, Mr. Newton's defense attorney. What is the state of the case at the moment? It's now going to appeal. Could you explain the basis of the appeal, Mr. Garry?
Oh, no, we're not ready to appeal. We've made a motion for new trial and an arrest judgment of the verdict of the jury. And we're going to argue the case Thursday morning at 9:15. The basis of our appeal is manyfold. One of them is the fact that the grand jury that indicted Huey Newton was not a representative in a cross-section of the community, that it's picked by the Superior Court judges on a personal basis of their own relationship with the persons, and it's not a random and a cross-section grand jury. We're going to attack the conviction and the trial based upon many, many bases. One of them being that the atmosphere was such that Huey Newton or anyone in his position could not get a fair and impartial trial. We attacked the entire jury panel based upon the fact that it was composed of persons from the voters' registration list, not picked on a random basis, but on a wishy-washy, haphazard basis, admittedly by the commissioner of jurors. We also attacked the jury system based upon the fact that from the voters registration list, the people from the black members from the Oakland ghetto are underrepresented in that they do not register to vote. They've lost faith in our system. Only some 52% have registered to vote, as 85% with the rest of the Alameda County. Then going into the evidence, the verdict of the jury is inconsistent, and it's not consistent with the evidence, that it's contradictory. Here the basic thing that we're going to hammer away at with the judge is the fact that some of the evidence was not what it was supposed to be, in that Greer's statement, taken an hour and 38 minutes after the event happened, in one paragraph it says that he did see the face of the person involved. Whereas we found out later, while the jury was out, the word was not did, but didn't. The judge corrected that by allowing the corrected statement to go to the jury, but this was some 2 days after they had asked to see that statement. And we found out today from the jurors that they didn't even notice the difference. The matter had not been called to their attention. We did not have an opportunity to argue this portion of it. The district attorney made quite a bit out of this, that the fact that this man did see it, and tried to make out the fact that I was misrepresenting facts to the jury. This, along with many, many other aspects of this case, are grounds for a new trial. And if the court does not exercise its discretion as a 13th juror to grant us a new trial, we're going to appeal the case to the highest court in the land. My clients use the terminology, the sky is the limit. Huey Newton says that when it says the sky is limit, they intend to exercise all of their democratic rights, both politically and judicially. And that's what they mean by sky is the limit. And we feel that confident in that if there's a retrial, Huey Newton will be released and found innocent of all charges. And this demonstration here today in front of the Panthers headquarters and the little restaurant right next to it, where the police have just riddled it. This is a common action on the part of the police when it comes to the black community. And this is the kind of a conduct that has not been stopped by the power structure. The power structure has not seen fit to see that the police officers understand black history. They do not understand the black people. They are people who come out of racism. When you have some 60 to 70% of your white population as white racist, it's not accidental that out of some 600 police officers, only 20 are black police officers. Those black police officers are not permitted to join the organizations that the white organizations have, the white police organizations have. And the whole subject matter is sickening, and it's a matter that needs immediate changes and overhauling. The whole system is rotten from the very foundation.
What legal action can you initiate with regard to this shoot-up of the Black Panther headquarters, Mr. Garry?
I'm going to let ordinary law and order take care of it. Mr. Gaines is the chief of police, and until Huey Newton becomes the chief of police here, we're going to let Mr. Gaines take care of these little problems of his bad boys. Huey Newton today in his press conference offered if the police department that has threatened to resign and quit, we heard rumors of that. That may not be true, but rumors have come through. Huey Newton offered to have the Black Panther Party police the entire black neighborhoods and also afford police protection, Black Panther protection to the white community, including Piedmont and the the hills, and he said he would see that the protection that the Black Panthers offer would be offered equally to both black and white.
Now, for our Los Angeles listeners who may not have followed the case, the Newton case very closely, we'd better mention that Greer, the man you mentioned, was a prosecution witness, a bus driver who was said to have witnessed the shooting. Just so we get that clear for the Los Angeles listeners.
Greer was discredited and impeached on 16 major items in the course of the trial. His memory became sharper 10 months after the event than it did an hour and 38 minutes after the event. I have so much stored up inside of me in this case that it'll probably take me years to unwind.
Didn't Greer disappear mysteriously for a while after the incident?
I don't know. Greer is the last thing in the world that I'm interested in.
Let's go down now to Alameda County Courthouse to talk to Huey P. Newton himself. Well, it's about 10:45, September 10th, 1968, and I'm in the holding cell at Alameda County Courthouse with Mr. Huey P. Newton, the leader of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, who 2 days ago was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter and the death of one policeman. What do you feel about this verdict, Mr. Newton?
First, I would like to say that it's the Black Panther Party.
What did I say?
Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. We changed our name some months ago now.
I'm sorry.
The other thing is that my first reaction to the verdict. No, I know something else on my mind. Wish you did. You promised to send me your paper. You never did.
Which paper was this?
The paper you got? My first reaction to the verdict was that it was a racist sellout, and that the jury didn't have the guts to decide the case on its evidentiary merits. Since then, certain mitigating intervening variables have occurred, such as I have information that the jury did not view all of the evidence. They were not aware of the change in the bus driver Greer's testimony that, I quote, I did see him clearly, and it was changed to I did not, or I didn't see him clearly. The jury was not aware of this change, and this is a very crucial part of the case. I think that in spite of all of that, the verdict was a compromise verdict. I believe that some racists on the jury wanted a conviction of first-degree murder, and some fair-minded people on the jury who wanted justice wanted me to be acquitted. Because this is strictly speculation now, that the foreman seemed to be a very strong personality, Mr. Harper. I think that he engineered the compromise. I think he did it in good faith, he based his decision upon the fact that this is a racist society, and in the event of a hung jury, that I might be convicted by a racist jury on the next trial of first-degree murder. I think that he took this under consideration, and based upon his knowledge of the law and the penal institution, which is probably not very extensive, he probably felt that, well, manslaughter, he'll be out of jail in a year or so, and the trial would take that long. In fact, this is not true, that manslaughter conviction carries 2 to 15 years, and I'm sure that because of the political nature of the case, that I would do every day of the 15 years. It's happened before. In the Jerry Newsom case, matter of fact, in 1949, right in this county, where Jerry Newsom was convicted of 2 counts, 1 count of robbery murder, where 2 people were executed in this robbery, and the 2nd count was robbery. He was convicted on both counts. He finally got a new trial on the murder robbery, and he was acquitted. The conviction on the second count of robbery held, and armed robbery in the state of California is 5 to life. And Jerry Newton, I knew him personally. I know his family. He was 18 at the time. And Jerry Newton did 15 years in the state penitentiary, where on a robbery you would do on a 5 to life 5 years at the most. So the racist community were demanding that Jerry Newton be executed. They still, Coakley, who was the DA at the time, made a press statement that as long as he was DA, Jerry Newton would never get out of prison. And he wrote letters every time Jerry Newton would go up for parole, and he encouraged the white community to influence the adult authority not to let him out. So I'm saying that Mr. Harper made a mistake, and that I'm asking the black community to forgive Mr. Harper and the other people on the jury who were operating in good faith and who believed in my innocence. They should have, they owed me the obligation to hang the jury up and not to compromise. They owed me this obligation, they owed it to the black community, and they did not fulfill this obligation that they had. But in spite of all of this, they operated in good faith, so I'm asking the community to forgive Mr. Harper and the rest of the fair-minded people on the jury, for they know not what they do. I'm also asking the students at Oakland City College to show Mr. Harper respect in the event that he teaches there next semester, as he plans to. I respect him, and I don't believe that he's an Uncle Tom or a bootlicker. I believe he's a black man, and he deserves respect because he simply made a mistake.
Now, if you do get a new trial, as the appeal is trying to obtain for you, you then would again face the possibility that a new jury might find you guilty of murder. Isn't that the case?
No.
Well, that couldn't happen, I see.
No. On the next trial, they can only convict me of manslaughter. I've been acquitted on all other charges. So this will be the only charge that I'm facing. We feel that the judge has an obligation in this case also. The judge is the 13th juror, and we might not have to appeal if the judge gives us justice. He has the power to set aside the verdict and order a new trial.
Yes. Now, one thing that has impressed reporters who've been covering this case is your amazing calm and presence during this whole trial. This, I gather, is due to your confidence of an innocent verdict, but does it also have something to do with your feeling that this, it being a political case, that this sets you as part of the case sort of above the, not the trivialities of law, but of a criminal case, but it sets it above and beyond it?
Yes, as the saying goes, like a tree by the still waters, I shall not be moved. And in spite of the treachery of the establishment, it cannot move the people. The people are an invincible force that will overcome, and that I've been very relaxed because I know that we have the people behind us. We know that we have the people behind us, and that the people will defeat the reactionary establishment that is like a colossal giant with clay feet. Because they're divorced from the people. They look vicious, but in the final analysis, they're not vicious at all.
What kind of, have you been receiving mail from outside, some reaction from sort of the broad public beyond the realm of the Panthers and your personal friends? Have you been able to receive mail?
Yes, I've received mail. They hold up my mail, my newspapers. I haven't received a newspaper in 4 days. I'll probably get them today. Sometimes, some letters I don't get at all. People have notified me through visiting that they sent letters and I didn't receive them. But all the letters that I received, not all, 99% of the letters I received have been very encouraging. I received letters from racists threatening my life, and I think this is a very it only reflects the nature of this institution that I'm housed in at the present time. I always get those letters right on time. I receive telegrams, favorable telegrams, as much as 2 weeks later after the telegram is mailed to me. but the telegrams threatening my life I received the same day, I believe the same minute that they're delivered here. And the police, I think, enjoy giving me these type of telegrams.
From how far afield do these letters and telegrams come?
I've got letters and telegrams from all over the country, and some letters from abroad, and a couple of telegrams from abroad.
Now, you've heard, I suppose, the news this morning of the shooting by, allegedly by 2 policemen into the Black Panther headquarters.
Yes, it's a fact that the police did shoot into the office. 3 police have been suspended temporarily.
2, I think, isn't it?
2,
Yeah.
yes, excuse me. 2 policemen have been suspended temporarily, and I expected or anticipated the police to react in a violent fashion and disturb the peace as they usually do. I don't think this was any change in their modus operandi. It's only, it was strictly in conformity to their previous action. All right, thanks, it's strictly the Mayor Redding stated on TV before the trial and during the trial that there would be an eruption no matter how the verdict came out. And I was wondering how he got this information, because I had notified and admonished the Black Panther Party in particular and the black community in general not to respond in any violent fashion. But I've concluded that the reason that he knew there would be a violent eruption because he had notified his police and Chief Gaines to inflict violence on our community. So I'm charging or renewing the charge on Mayor Redding and Chief Gaines as being rebel rousers and anarchists who believe in disturbing the peace, and they have no respect for justice, law, and order. We would like to see justice, law, and order prevail.
You'd like the black community on the whole to maintain its cool then, while this appeal is being heard, I take it?
I've ordered the Black Panther Party to evacuate all headquarters. That's why no one was harmed at the headquarters, because I had given the order to evacuate the headquarters throughout the country.
Did you do that before the verdict?
Yes. I had admonished the Black Panther Party not to respond in any violent fashion, but use self-defense. Now, self-defense is a number of tactics that you can use in self-defense. In this instance, our self-defense was a hasty, strategic withdrawal from the headquarters, therefore thereby defending ourselves. Now,
is a total evacuation? I mean, during the daytime, the people there, I take it?
There's no one at the office.
Just today for this,
night.
Because of this incident today, then, I see.
Pardon me? I ordered this approximately 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh, I see.
That at least 2 weeks ago, that the headquarters will be evacuated throughout the community, throughout the country. And I also warned the community or admonished them not to respond in any violent fashion because the mayor used a strategy of trying to arouse the younger people in the community. The young are always the warriors. The teenage group, sometimes they respond emotionally, and I think that Mayor Redding was attempting to provoke this response.
That's in the black community you're talking about.
The
He's
black
trying to arouse the youngsters of the black community, was he, in your...
and also, as you very well know, that the police have made a vicious attack upon the white community in Berkeley. And but this particular statement that he made was pointed at the black community. And so we're saying that we're still willing to negotiate. I've asked Chief Gaines and the mayor and all other public officials I invited them to have conversation or to the conference table so that we could have a peaceful solution to the problem and negotiate and solve the problem in a peaceful manner. We feel that the black people must control the destiny of their community. They must have exclusive control of the institutions within our community. We also say the white community, or the people in the white community, should have control of those institutions. The people have no control at all. There's a small circle of gangsters who are the ruling class, and they call themselves the establishment, and they control the lives of all of us. the people are, both black and white, are beginning to realize this daily. And this is why there's no such thing existing in America now, such as a race riot. All resistances and all rebellions are against the reactionary authorities in our community.
So it's no longer a race issue. It was tending to be in some quarters at one stage, perhaps, but
that only shows the propaganda of the establishment. The establishment had propagandized all of the people, and in order for it to stay in position that it's in or maintain its status, it had the people fighting against each other. But now the people have pulled the cloak or the facade away from the establishment, and now they see the hypocrisy of the establishment, and the people are resisting against the ruling authority in the country, which is a reactionary body. And the only reason that it had race overtones years ago is because the establishment was successful in misguiding, lying, and having the people operate on a very fallacious principle, and that is that the fight is between the color of skins and not the owner of the means of production.
Now, since you were indicted and brought to trial, I've seen the growth of the Black Panther Party throughout the United States. Could you give us an idea of this development?
I feel that it's essential for the vanguard of the people to integrate theory with practice. The people will not follow any leadership that only spouts off abstract theories, nor will they follow a nihilistic type of leadership that believes in action without theory or without philosophy. The Black Panther Party was successful in integrating theory and practice, or as the Minister of Information says in Soul on Ice, the integration of the mind and body. The mind as the action tool, and the body as the mind as the theoretician, and the body as the activity. And these things have been successfully integrated within our complex whole of our philosophy and of our program. And this is why that the membership is growing. And more than the membership, we're not too concerned at this point with membership. We're concerned with affecting the minds of the people, and in a positive manner. We're interested in the community internalizing the philosophy of the Black Panther Party, and whether they're a Panther or not, as long as they follow the principles, we will get some justice in this country. There's some information that the Oakland police are going to temporarily dismissed or suspended from the force, and the Black Panther Party would like to notify the community, both the black and the white community, that we're at their service, that we will maintain law and order in both the black and white community if this is asked of us. We will maintain law and order in our community, in the black community, and we would like to notify the white community that we're at their service, because we're dedicated to peace and tranquility among the people.
Had you heard or read that some reporters had been told privately by some policemen that they were prepared to kill you if you were acquitted?
I anticipated that anyway. I'm not surprised to hear. This is the first time I've heard it, but I was sure that there would be a plot for my life, as there has been for the last 2 years. They've been unsuccessful in killing me for the last 2 years simply because the people have protected me. And the people, as I said before, are an invincible force, and I'll feel quite secure in the community. Simply because the people take care of the inhabitants of the community. So I'm not afraid of the police after I get out of prison. That I'm afraid of the police now that I'm in jail, because I'm in a den of wolves, and I have no security whatsoever. I don't view it as security.
You don't have a food taster.
Right.
Now, as a leader of a party that is organized on a national basis, would you like to take this opportunity to express some opinions on some of the recent developments in the national political scene? The selection of Mr. Nixon and Mr. Humphrey?
Make a campaign speech.
Running
for Congress.
Yeah, well, anyway, as far as the national election of Mr. Humphrey and Mr. Nixon, I think there's not really an alternative. The other day I was speaking with a news reporter from one of the underground papers, and he had a article that he wanted to write, and he said that the people have no real alternative. Either they will be humped by Hubert, dicked by Nixon, or some other phrase. Anyway, that this is the state of affairs. That there's no real alternative. That they're establishment people, and they're both only to maintain the status quo of the establishment. The only alternative that the people have is Minister of Information Eldridge Cleaver for president. That would be a real alternative, because they would have a revolutionary who wants some drastic changes in the political structure of the country and the economical structure. This is about the only alternative that we have in the country. But as far as the election that I've read the papers on it. It's not even exciting, because it's only the thing that's been happening for 400 years in the country, and it's not impressive at all.
Yes. Well, Mr. Gregory is also on the scene as another alternative.
Yes, Mr. Gregory is an honorable man. He's a comedian, and I think that's his best game. Eldridge Cleaver is about the only real serious alternative.
Did you feel any better about, even in sort of relatively speaking, and to whatever small degree, about McCarthy relative to Nixon or Humphrey?
What is the question again?
Did you feel, would you have felt any better at all, even if only relatively so, about Mr. McCarthy?
I didn't know exactly where McCarthy was at, and I don't think he did either. Many statements that he made were very good statements. As far as him following those principles, only empirical evidence could show. The reason I say that I don't think he knew either, the fact that he was running in the Democratic Party, and he knew that you have to come to terms with his constituents in the Democratic Party, and that's a very strong machinery. No one man could really do much to alter that. As far as dealing with them, that McCarthy could not deal with it. And I think that he's intelligent enough to know that, and then I would conclude that then he must be trying to pull something on the people. As far as the statements that he made and the things that he stood for, that I can't find any criticism of those philosophies, but it seems to be somewhat paradoxical. I didn't understand him, and I don't think he understood himself.
Well, now, you're standing for Congress in the 7th Congressional District. What are your positions, if you'd like to explain them, on some of the main issues? For instance, the Vietnam War seems to be one of the crucial issues in this campaign.
I would say that that of course the war should come to an end. There should be a withdrawal of troops, even without negotiation, a withdrawal of troops from Vietnam, so that the people can determine their destiny. And as far as on the national scene, that I would like for the people to share in the wealth. I would like for the people to control the means of production by appointing or electing their representatives to control the industrial complex. There are 75 million workers in this country. 85% work in 11.5 million privately owned enterprises, and they're wage slaves. The profits go to the small ruling class. The worker has no control really over of the conditions of work, nor does he have control over the wealth that he's producing by his labor. So I would like for every ethnic group to be represented in a ministry of industry. I would like for that every ethnic group be represented on the national political level. That I think that one of the essential fundamental things wrong with the American Constitution is that it doesn't respect any group, even though a group is controlling the country. The white Anglo-Saxon Protestant group is controlling the wealth of the country. But yet the Constitution doesn't provide any redress of grievances of national ethnic groups. So therefore the Constitution is lacking as far as freedom and justice for the people, because America, everyone admits, is a nation of nations, of many ethnic groups. I would like to have the Indians represented on a national level in spite of their percentage, their small percentage in number. They have a right to live, therefore they have a right to redress of grievances. They have a right to determine the destiny of their community. So I would like for every ethnic group, the blacks should have representatives on all national levels, that they should have we should have exclusive control of the local institution in the community on a cooperative level economically, and that the wealth would then be distributed to the many ethnic groups throughout the country on a cooperative basis. So I think that each ethnic group should control its local community on a national level. All ethnic groups should be represented in whole offices, and the Constitution should be changed so that groups will have rights.
Now this suggests this idea of representation for different ethnic groups, that you'd have a sort of reservation of a number of seats, for instance, in the Congress and the state assemblies, reserved for different ethnic groups, as you have in countries going from a state of pure colonialism to semi-colonialism to independence. This is what they did in the constitutions in these countries. And you'd like to see something like this, a certain number of seats reserved for different ethnic groups in Congress and the state assembly.
Not only that, I think that the basic Constitution should be changed so that this right will be reflected in the Constitution. And I think this is the only way that people will have a right to determine their destiny. This is the only way that cultural exploitation will stop, and this is the only way that economical exploitation will stop.
You want to take the proportional representation a step further and have proportional representation cultural-wise.
Yes.
Cultural and ethnic.
Yes, I think that the black people in particular have been robbed of their cultural heritage, not only in the sense that it was made impossible for us to perpetuate our African culture. We developed a new culture based around slavery. Now the art form and the music and the art, the theater, the art generally that was developed after slavery, the African with the American slave experience, it was denied that we had a culture. And they said we were culturally deprived. And at the same time they said we were culturally deprived, they culturally exploited us by using our music, selling it to the world, not only selling it back to us in our country, but selling it to the world for a profit. And they've devastated our theater. When radio came out, we were quickly excluded from the radio companies, and whites would play our music and make the records and thereby become wealthy by it.
And this was an Andy.
Yeah, right. So this is cultural exploitation. It happens locally. It happens internationally. On an international level, that I would demand that America stop exploiting people culturally and economically. One of the ways to enslave a people is to go into the country, control the means of production, draw out the raw materials, and in order to keep your status, attempt to divorce the people from their culture, so the people then will praise the exploiter. And this is only a method of conquering a people. This would have to come to an end.
Now, may I ask you about this sort of reserved representation for ethnic groups? People voting for candidates for the black seats in Congress, for instance, would they also participate in voting for seats representing the white, or would it be split up along these lines?
On a national level?
Yes, or on a state level.
Well, I'll start from a local level. As far as the community, the ethnic groups who occupy the communities, this ethnic group should exclusively control their local institutions. And this doesn't mean exclude other people who are coming into the community to enjoy the public facilities. It would be very similar to a person, say a Westerner going to China. He goes to China, he's not excluded from the hotels or the restaurants, but the country has the ethos of a Chinese heritage, and it will be very similar to the people in this country going from community to community. The community will reflect the cultural heritage of the people. On a state level, that on issues or statewide offices or government agencies, then all the people will participate in election. But it will simply be arranged so that the ethnic groups will be represented there in spite of the number of votes. And I haven't worked this out in detail because we have to lay some foundation first on a local level. And I have worked this out, how this could work. And we will solve first things first. And now we're attempting to control our communities.
What about international issues? Do you want to comment on any of those? I mean, apart from Vietnam, which you've talked about, America's involvement militarily abroad, the bases around the world. There are more than 3,000 bases, military bases now.
Yes, America should withdraw from all countries. That they should, these countries should kick them out as far as the bases are concerned. America should stop sabotaging and attacking Latin America. America still have troops in Dominican Republic, as I understand it, and throughout Southeast Asia, or else they're aiding and they have bases there, and that they must withdraw because they're only there not for any self-defense. They're there to determine the destiny of other people, especially people of color.
Do you have any comments about recent developments in Europe, and especially in Prague?
I don't understand the whole situation of Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union. I would withhold any comment until I get more information. I haven't received newspapers regularly, and I don't know the full detail. But I would withhold any opinion until I get more information.
How's your health holding up, Mr. Newton?
It is fine.
What are your quarters like, Mr. Newton?
I'm kept in a solitary confinement cell. It's 6.5 by 4.5, and it's a solid steel room with a cement floor. There are no windows whatsoever. There's an opening in the steel door about a foot square, a cubby hole that is open. The room is very hot and stuffy. Most of the time I'm nude because all of the time, matter of fact, because it's extremely warm in the room. And I'm never out for exercise other than going to court or coming down for a news interview or talk to my attorney.
Do you have a bed, a bunk?
Yes, I have a bunk, a toilet, and a wash basin. Excuse me.
Are you allowed books to read?
Here lately, they've admitted some books. For the last 10 months, they wouldn't admit any books. They would hold up the books that they would okay for sometimes a month and a half. And my attorney, Mr. Garry, has had to put much pressure in order for me to get books.
Thank you, Mr. Newton.